All right, today we're going to talk about riding slow, but just creeping the bike. A lot of times the bike feels super heavy when you're going under 5 miles an hour. But today I'm going to show you how to ride 1 to 2 miles an hour without putting your feet down. And my bike is like 900 plus pounds, but it's all technique. We've seen people do it where you see some of these motor officers, they're riding within a crowd going to like 2 miles an hour and the bike is sitting up. Well, it's just technique, and that technique is the rear brake. Oftentimes, I had someone come ride with me once before, and I was showing them the rear brake technique, and they said they couldn't get there. It was weird to them to be twisting the throttle and pressing the rear brake at the same time. That's what you're doing. So for this technique, to give an example, imagine you tie a rope around your waist and just leave it dangling, like about 10 feet. And with that rope just dangling, if you try to lean forward, you're going to fall. If you try to lean sideways, you're going to fall. But if you tie the end of that rope to a boulder and then you try to lean, it's going to hold you up. That boulder is going to hold you up. It might create tension in that rope. So when you're leaning forward, you're going to stay. When you lean sideways, it's going to keep you up because that boulder is holding you back, kind of like tug of war. If you're playing tug of war, you can lean backwards and lean to the side because you have someone else pulling on the other side. And when you have that, you're allowed to kind of do things you can't do without that tension. So just like tug of war, if you're pulling and pulling, someone's pulling on the other side, you can lean backwards, you can stand on one foot, you can almost be parallel to the ground and not fall because of that pull on the opposite side of the rope. But if there was no one on that rope and you tried to lean, you fall. That's what the rear brake is doing. The rear brake is like dropping a boulder behind your bike. Tie a rope around the boulder, drop it, and then try to go. It's going to create this tension in your bike. And that tension is what's going to help it stay up, even when you're going 1-2 miles an hour. That's the trick. So when you're in the friction zone, when you're on your bike and just before it bites, it depends on your bike, right before it bites, you sit right there and then you preload the throttle 1500 to 2000 and just leave it there. You hear a nice hum, and just leave it there. And as you open that clutch just slightly, the bike will start to go. Well, if you do that and hold that rear brake, you don't have to jam on it, just ride it. It'll keep that bike up. So try doing it first without the rear brake. 2000, 1500, 2000, and slowly open that clutch, and the bike will be a little wobbly. It's like when you're in a red light. If you try to go, sometimes you just go a little wobbly. One way to get rid of that, preload, open it up, and immediately hold that brake. Just a little bit, it'll stiffen it up. Now you'll feel the bike kind of bog down because the rear brake is doing that tug of war. It's doing this. It's like dropping an anchor. So now it stiffens your bike up. So now when you're going super slow, you ride that brake, just ride it, don't stab, just hold it. And as you go, you'll feel that tension keeping your bike up. The bike will feel very steady because you're holding that brake. But as soon as you let go of that brake, it starts doing this. You start getting a little wobbly. But if you hold that brake and give it some gas, that brake acts as almost like a boulder on the back of your bike, holding it so you can now turn and do different things from 1 to 5 miles an hour. It took me a while to understand this because I was like, how does pressing the brake help keep the bike up? But it finally clicked for me. I was going through a turn and kind of accidentally pressed the brake, and when I did that, the bike just stiffened up. And then I had that aha moment, like, oh, that's what they're talking about. It kind of gives this control, and you just ride it. And as you go, you can creep and creep and creep. And it's pretty impressive, like at a gas station, you're pulling in, you don't have to duck walk. You just slowly turn and go. But let's now just give some examples of just slow creep riding. Before I even move, listen to my revs. You hear my revs go up. I'm preloading. I preload to about 2,000 or so, and then I open the clutch, almost kind of pop it a little bit, and then I immediately press the brake. So you see as I pull off going super slow, but the bike isn't wobbly. It's super straight because I'm holding the brake as I start. I'm dragging the brake, dragging it, going about 1-2 miles an hour. My throttle is pretty steady right here. It's not going up and down. But now here I'm going to stab at the brake. I'm going to stab it. And watch the bike lunge. I'm stabbing, and then it falls. That's a perfect example right there of stabbing at the brake. In that example, I stabbed at the brake, and so you can't stab. You cannot stab. If you stab, it stops your momentum and you fall. So right there, as I was going through that turn, I was doing this. You saw the bike jumping. I was doing this. But if you notice, because I lost all of my motion, the bike fell. I'll show you some more. Now I'm starting out smooth again. I'm starting with my foot on the brake. Now I'm doing circles. Listen to my engine. The RPMs are steady. They're not going up and down, they're steady. Look at my brake light. The brake light is on. I'm just dragging the brake. I'm basically doing like U-turns, like circles straight up. You can do U-turns without leaning or without real speed. I'm just dragging the brake. So I'm doing turns straight up by dragging the brake, keeping my throttle steady. Look at the brake lights. They're still on. And right here, I'm trying to go about as slow as possible. Just creeping, dragging the brake. Keep the throttle steady. Have that clutch barely open. And just slowly ride it. And the whole time you notice the bike isn't wobbling. It's not going back and forth. Because once you find that sweet spot, the bike could just kind of stay up on its own. It's all technique. If you look at my brake light stays on. I'm just riding the brake. You saw me doing those circles, those U-turns? Those are slow U-turns. In my other video, I show you how to do like a faster U-turn, like you're in traffic going about 10 miles an hour. But those U-turns are about 4 miles an hour. Because I'm riding the brake. I'm able to do a slow, steady U-turn. Because a big part of U-turns is getting over the fear of leaning. And the speed and the lean. You don't have to do that. You can do a U-turn without leaning and without speed. That's what I was doing. Now, here's the thing about the brake though. You can become super dependent on it because it's so good where you end up riding the brake all the time. You don't want to do that. But in these maneuvers like this, just creep it. Again, it's that tension. That brake is like that boulder on the back of your bike pulling, so it's allowing you to stay up as you turn. It stiffens it, it stabilizes it. You can feel it. Some people say you don't need to be riding the brake because then the brake is fighting the clutch, it's fighting all that stuff is fighting. If you do it correctly, it's all working together. It's not fighting each other. That's why you lightly ride the brake, because when you come off the brake, if the bike lunges, that means you got too much throttle, or the clutch is open too much. A lot of that, my clutch hand and my throttle hand, just like in the U-turns, are still. I'm not doing this. It's just saying it's still, and I'm using the brake to adjust my speed. Now, in some of those turns, when you go to reach, it does help to do a bit of a counterbalance, like a counter lean, as you go to turn. Because you're automatically going to do it without even thinking about it, because when you go to push that handlebar, you're going to kind of lean a little bit. But when you do that, it helps to kind of fight the bike trying to lean inward sometimes, so you can keep it straight up. Because once you're doing it, you just kind of look. You don't have to look straight ahead. You don't look at the ground. The ground ain't going nowhere. You just kind of, sometimes I don't even turn my head all the way. I just turn just a little bit, like 90 degrees, like look over to the side. Just kind of follow, because you're just looking where you want the bike to go. You can creep your bike. I think at one point I got to like 1 mile an hour, you know, just moving. And the bike doesn't feel like it's wobbly. If you notice, the bike wasn't wobbly. It was going straight. It doesn't feel wobbly. It feels stable. That's that rear brake. All working together. When it starts to fight each other, you'll know, because you'll start to smell it. You'll start to smell your clutch burning out. You'll start to smell it. It'll start to have a funny. You don't want to. You want to park your bike, let it rest a little bit. That means you got the revs too high, or you're stabbing it. You're holding the brake like it's fighting. You don't want it to fight, because you'll feel it. Once you get it, it feels just like you're just coasting. You'll feel it. The bike isn't lunging. The revs aren't. If you listen to my revs are very steady. It's steady revs. I'm not doing this. You don't need to be doing it. Just hold it. And then just find that friction zone right past the bite point and just hold it. Just hold it. And after that, you just a brake. That's it. All right.